back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm going to show you how I made this sleeveless gingham dress. It's a really quick and easy DIY as usual, suitable for beginner sewers as well, so I really hope you enjoy.
So to make this dress you will need about 1.5 meters of lightweight non-stretchy fabric. I've used this gingham cotton fabric and its width was 140 centimeters, so I ended up using a piece of fabric that was 1.5 meters long and 140 centimeters wide. Then to create the pattern for the top piece you will need a tank top that you like the fit of. Ideally this will also be in a non-stretchy fabric. Then you'll want to try on your tank top and make a mark right where your bra ends. I marked this point with a pin and this is where the first tier of the dress will start. And you'll also need a zipper for the back of the dress. You can use a normal zipper or an invisible one. Mine is about 50 centimeters long. And then you'll need your basic sewing tools like pins, a fabric scissor, a measuring tape, a pencil or some chalk, a ruler, matching thread, and of course your sewing machine. And I am going to try to make my own bias binding in this video as well. So for that I'm going to try out this tool for the very first time, so I hope it works. But this is not a necessity, you can definitely make your own bias binding without any tools. So the first thing that you'll need to do is to fold your tank top in half lengthwise and place it on a piece of paper to create the pattern. First I'm going to draw the front piece of the tank top, so this will be the front piece of my dress. And I'm basically just outlining its shape, keeping in mind that the tank top ends right where I placed the pin, so that is where I'm going to draw a straight line across. I'm also going to add 0.5 centimeter seam allowance all around my pattern piece. You actually don't have to add the seam allowance right here on this straight middle line, because that is where we are going to fold the fabric. So the pattern will be placed on fold on the fabric, so you don't need seam allowance right there. And then I'm doing the exact same thing for the back piece. The back piece will not be cut on fold, so you'll need to add some seam allowance here. You'll end up having two pieces for the back, and the zipper will be right along the middle. And here are my two pattern pieces. To make sure everything will fit exactly how I wanted it, I've decided to use some scrap fabric and sew the top part out of this fabric. This way I can try it on and make adjustments and only use my gingham fabric when the fit is perfect. So I've quickly sewn the pieces together and decided I want the neckline to be lower. I also adjusted the armholes, they were a bit too wide for me. And I also took the top in at the waist just a little bit. And now that I have the desired fit, I've decided to seam rip this top and use the pieces as a pattern for my actual fabric. And here are my fabric pieces. This is the top part and the smaller pieces are the back. I placed them right sides facing each other and pinned them at the shoulder and at the side seams. Then you can go ahead and sew these pieces together. For the next part you'll need this measurement, so the length of your top right here. Mine is 39 centimeters. So the circumference for my top at this point is 39 centimeters times 2, which is 78 centimeters. And 78 centimeters times 1.5 is going to be the length of your first tier. So for me, this will be 117 centimeters. I wanted my first tier to be a bit longer than the first one, so I made it 40 centimeters wide. The length of your second tier will be the length of your first tier times 1.5. So in my case, this will be 117 centimeters times 1.5. And this is 176 centimeters. To be honest, I made this tier a bit shorter because I wanted to use the width of my fabric. And the width of this tier was for me 35 centimeters. Of course, this depends on the desired length of your dress. So in total for me, the skirt part was 75 centimeters long. I wanted it to be about 73 and I added 2 centimeters seam allowance. So now that you have all of your measurements, you can go ahead and cut out the rectangles for the skirt part. And to be able to gather the fabric, you'll need to sew a straight line across the long part of your rectangle. Set your machine to a straight stitch and choose the longest stitch length available. And make sure you don't sew back and forth at the beginning or at the end of your stitch. Now you'll just need to lightly pull on one thread, and this is how you're going to gather the fabric. Just push with your fingers to move the gathering around the fabric edge to spread it evenly. Now pin the first tier to the top piece of your dress and sew them together. And then repeat the whole process for the second tier. Now it's time to add the zipper. Place it at the top of your dress and make a mark right where the zipper ends. Now turn your dress right side out and you'll need to sew the bottom piece of your dress closed right up to the mark you just made. Use an iron to press the seam open and continue folding and pressing the edge of the fabric upwards up until you reach the top of your dress. Now pin the zipper and sew it in place. Don't stress about how the zipper looks at the top because we are going to add a bias tape around the neckline. Now if you want to create your own bias tape, you'll need to fold your fabric at a 45-degree angle. It's pretty easy using this gingham fabric, I have to admit I love this project. Now cut this corner out, and out of the remaining fabric we are going to cut our bias tape. My bias tape will be 18 centimeters wide, so 18 times 2 is 36, so I have to cut strips of fabric that are 3.5 centimeters wide. If you are interested in this tool, I actually recommend it. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but you just have to insert the fabric here and then lightly pull and use your iron to press it. And I think it works way quicker than folding it by hand. Now let's add the bias binding. First cut the ends of your zipper. Then place your bias tape open on the inside of your dress, making sure you leave about 1 cm extra at the edge of your fabric. Pin it all the way around and sew it using a straight stitch. Now fold this edge inwards. Cut off the corners to make it easier for you to fold the bias tape over, and then fold it all the way around and pin it in place. Now that you successfully added the bias tape around the neckline, you'll need to add it around the armholes as well. And we are finally at the last step of this tutorial. Now you'll just need to hem your dress by folding the fabric inwards twice. But before you do that, I recommend you try on your dress one more time and see if you like the length of it or if you want to shorten it. And this is the final result. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll make sure to answer those. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!